All right, episode 56. Should you be playing offense or defense right now? We're going to find out right now.
Playing defense sucks.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to, with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
All right. What's up, everyone?
Nothing, it's man. So weird. I can't hold this charade. We've been on this call already for like 20 minutes talking, and now we're trying to pretend like we just started some show. Like what's up, everyone? We're freaking BSing around since 10 o'clock.
I've been doing this shit for 23 minutes now.
The show actually ends,
and it's weird that it's not live.
It's weird that it's not live. I don't know what Derek's going to do with all this. I hope he chops it up in some just amazing chopped and screwed fashion that just makes the most bananas conversation out of this. But we'll see.
There's just dune buggy talk right in the middle of like halfway through the show. People are like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. I mean, so you want to hear about dune buggies.
Yep.
I'm sure Derek can make a good little fun video about us planning to go to White Sands, New Mexico.
Hell yeah. Comment below if you think a road trip to somewhere that's desolate, where you cannot infect people, is an amazing idea right now, where you can just kind of be with nature, have your White Claws, goal set, those types of things.
How do we do it with social distancing? Do we have to all just drive our own cars?
No, like, here's the deal. Matt and I have already been in the same room.
Yeah, you're honestly like the freaking
you might have to take your own car. Honestly, you're the loaded gun in this situation. Matt and I have been around each other.
Well, you say that I have only driven from my house to my office.
Yeah, right, but there's other people in your office.
And that's what it is. I could see a person back there.
Yeah, but that's not a real person.
You guys are crossing paths all day? Who is that?
No, that's Duncan. But there's a window back there, so it's all good.
Look,
he's waving.
There's a window. I don't think the virus can go through windows.
I want to see him just like at some point in this podcast just sneeze blood all over that wall.
Here's the reality too. Like every time you walk outside or accidentally touch a railing or whatever, you just restart your clock by 3 weeks anyways. Like it's
100%.
I'm finding it completely impossible to use vigilant as would be necessary to actually not get this thing. I'm mitigating my chances.
Yeah. Bro, I go like every time I have to go to the grocery store, I go insane with that hand sanitizer stuff, and I wipe down the wheels of the cart. I wipe down everything. Like
but here's the thing: is I think we're getting roped into some. And again, I might be the one reading stupid shit online.
No, it's a false sense of security for sure.
Hand sanitizer does nothing against this.
No, it does. It does if it's over 60%.
Okay.
If it's over 60% alcohol, which I have right here. I've been carrying around in my backpack.
Is that antiviral, though? That's the situation.
Do they make hand sanitizer that's not 60% alcohol? Yes, what the hell is in it?
Yes, it's probably the stuff they're buying at the dollar store. This one has alcohol. This one's 70% ethyl alcohol, so it's not as strong. There's some of them I think up to 80 or 90%.
I don't know. I'm finding all kinds of weird things about stuff. Like there's certain types of bleach that are not disinfectant, and that, of course, that's the kind I own. Right.
Here's the crazy thing that I read an article the other day that talked about, and this is how absurd this was. And if we have this false sense of security, then we should all get the virus anyway. They said the safe haven place was the grocery store. But now people, there's been grocery store workers. There's been 2 grocery store workers, I think one at Trader Joe's and one at somewhere else, that has come down and tested positive for the virus. And I'm like,
locally or like nationwide?
Nationwide.
2 nationwide?
Yeah, but they're like, just when you thought that the grocery stores were a safe haven. I'm like, who the fuck thought that?
Yeah, why would they be saying that? That's the place everyone's going.
It's a place everybody picks up and puts down the most shit.
Yeah,
I was there getting avocados the other day.
That's exactly what I did.
I grabbed one and I was like, I have to live with this avocado decision now. I can't put it back.
I didn't, dude, and I didn't even think about it until it's so funny because it was an avocado too. I was gonna make these. I make these like shredded chicken, and I put them in hollowed out avocados, put cheese on them, and then I pick one up because I was gonna make it. And then Lady and I were talking about it, and I was like, let's just finish the produce we have at home. And I put the avocado back. wasn't until the ride home where I was like, oh, I touched that avocado and put it back. Like, how many other people have done that? Like,
I did have my... Get it, Nick? What do you think?
All right. If you haven't tuned out yet, as we get started on this, which one should you be playing, offense or defense right now? If you haven't seen our big announcement, by the way, go over to toracademy.com, sign up. We now have, this is more important than ever, especially in this, uncharted, unprecedented time. Like, I'm seeing more people just use uncharted. Like, there's a lot of these buzzwords are starting to go on, and I'm freaking falling into it. But it's more important than ever to go and surround yourself with people who have been through at least a market pullback. I built a business during the recession. So go over to toracademy.com. You can now sign up for $27 a month, or you can sign up for $197 for the lifetime access. And there's now a third option, thanks to Brian, who is allowing people to sign up for $20 a month if you just want to be on the twice a month Zoom Tor Academy calls, right?
People and these things are free. We've got a lot of people jumping on the mastermind membership.
Well, and the cool thing about that,
to get a lot more valuable.
To tie all that together is like what Nick was saying. I've never been through a market shift before, right? Like, this is the first time I'm experiencing this. And even just in our mastermind call last week, I text Brian afterwards and I was like, dude, Nick was just freaking giving us gold the whole time. Like, there were so many ideas in there that I would have never thought of because they weren't types of business I've even focused on before or had any desire to focus on. And I was like, shit, dude, there's a lot of stuff in there that Nick was just saying that like we could implement because I haven't been through this before.
It's pretty amazing because it's like the three of us talk. I talk to you people more than I talk to my own wife. It seems like, and it's still on those mastermind calls. I take more notes during those than I do for any other educational thing I do all week, even though because I mean, it doesn't matter how many times you talk to the same people, like new ideas, new markets, new environments, all this stuff. There's so much to learn all the time. And I find myself getting the most, I think, out of the masterminds that we host. Like, I'm always taking a ton of notes.
Well, and I even asked for the playback on that one, or the notes that you were taking, Brian, because a lot of the stuff, like I was out running. I forgot completely about it because we were off schedule or actually getting back on schedule.
Yeah,
right?
We're getting back, I think, on schedule.
And it wasn't on my calendar. And so Brian calls me and is like, hey, are you jumping on? I'm like, fuck, I forgot. And so I was out running. I'm doing this while finishing doing my cool down. And it just hit me. I'm like, I'm going back into that mode of remembering 2008, 2009, 2010. Yeah. And then the peak of the recession was really 2011. And so a lot of these are now, my mind is going to, where is the opportunity, right? That's why I wanted to talk about, should you be playing offense or defense right now? Because I'm hearing everybody say, now's the time to cut. Now's the time to cut. And I don't disagree with that, right? There are things that should be cut right now. But then there are things that, in my opinion, I believe you should double down on. Doubling down on the getting the right message and the right marketing funnels out there is going to be huge at this time. Look, people are at home. Yeah. What are they doing? I worked out yesterday at 2 p.m. with my trainer outside. We social distance. And I saw more people out walking, out getting a workout, just going out for a stroll. So guess what? That means there's more people at home scrolling through online stuff. And I guarantee you, they've got questions of what their home value is going to be. They got questions of what the heck's going on in the market. They got questions, what do I do if I lose my job, even though that there's some measures in place right now?
Yep.
So is this an opportunity for real estate agents to maybe not necessarily focus so much on getting the now business, but building a huge database of people who now all the eyeballs can be on them, right? You're buying attention at the moment.
So here's like, you hit a couple of points. First of all, happy opening day to you and yours.
Beautiful weather for it too.
I know, right? Man. I'm so bitter today. But no, so you hit on a couple of things there. This is one of the reasons, and this we're already in the shift now. This is happening. It's just come on really, really quick. This is, unfortunately for a lot of people, this is why you build capital reserves. This is why you put money away for times like this. Not just because business might be a little bit tougher to get, which I think we'll get to. I disagree that we're going to see a huge shift in the market long term, but marketing will get more expensive now, I think, right? This is why and the reason I say that is because anytime the message that you're putting out there changes, there's a trial and error period where you're trying to find that right mechanism, that right message, that right system, right? Because just putting out the same digital, like let's just say you're running Facebook ads or Google pay-per-click ads right now, right? The message is going to be a little bit different than it was even a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago, right? You're going to be running more ads that are more about, hey, what happens in this situation? What is COVID-19 done to my home value? Things like that, right? It's a totally different mechanism, but I think it can be incredibly beneficial, right? One of the things that we have had to make some decisions on that I think are still tough decisions to make is whether or not we back down our digital ad spend, right? And focus on our relationships, focus on our sphere, focus on all those types of things. I don't know what the right decision is there, but I know that if we're going to keep spending money on digital advertising, the message has to change a lot. And there's a little bit of a trial and error period there. So that's why it's good to have some firepower saved up so you can throw a little bit of it out there right now, because most people are going to cut expenses right now. We're massively cutting expenses, right? We're cutting other stuff, stuff that we probably didn't need in the first place. It is tough to agree with cutting out a ton of marketing expenses if you have the ability to find the right message, because you're right, Nick, you have a completely captive audience right now. I would parlay that with, if you're going to spend money on marketing dollars, you need to really live by that marketing-based prospecting enhanced model. If you're going to spend money on marketing right now, you need to reward yourself by also doubling down on your prospecting efforts, because people are at home, like, think about it. People don't want to walk around their neighborhood, Nick. They're so bored. People are actually going outside. They're waiting for somebody to call them.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. So you want to actually be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. You had it backwards, right?
Yeah,
so
flip it.
This is now the time to be prospecting based, marketing enhanced, and look, my business never went away from true prospecting based. Like expireds now has been about 19-20% of our business when you factor in the referrals and everything else, but guess what? That's going to go up. For sale by owner opportunities are going up. You've got to get used and comfortable with the prospecting based measures, right? There's a lot of people that, from during the run up of the market would talk about. I remember going to masterminds. I remember going to networking events that said, if I have to make a cold call, if I have to do this, I'm not going to stay in this business. And it's like, well, then you're going to be getting in and out of this business with every market shift. Because you are going to have to get comfortable doing some type of prospecting base outside your comfort zone if you want to have longevity in this. Because what I have seen in my experience when I go back and analyze the recession, a lot of times what happened are the people that got out of the business that were doing really well were sphere-based, referral-based, and as that market starts to slowly evaporate or dry up, so does your referral base. And unless you're going out to parties, which right now it's going to be hard to go out and just increase your network, right? You're going to have to figure out some way to get cold business or, cold audience turned into a warm audience and then funnel that down. And so that's expires, for sale by owners, the canceled market, there's some other measures of the probate list, divorce list, etc. Because guess what? I guarantee you, we are going to see the divorce rate go up once we get released from this.
Yeah, I think you're 100%.
That's a crazy take. Everybody's trapped at home with each other. I think that it's funny that Nick was talking about the sphere and the referral based thing, right? Like just the referrals, right? Like those are obviously dried up almost immediately because the same stuff's happening in other markets. People are putting everything off, right? The ones that are out there's a lot more people fighting over them. There's a lot more people attack. Like the source of business that I think that are easier to get, there's a lot more people. And that's what we've been telling our agents is if you guys do the relationship-based, staying in contact with people, the now business, the stuff that will help you survive and get through the next few months, that stuff will show up through your activity. Then on the other side of this, you're going to be running full steam ahead when everybody else is trying to ramp themselves back up. And it's one of the things that, like, I've obviously been fucking with you the last few days about you guys being at the office. The reality is you guys are going to be more prepared when this, because as quickly as, like Adam said to us on our CEO, as quickly as this showed up, it's going to leave too, right? Like, meaning as soon as the housing market is a go again, it's going to be a full on go. It's not going to step back into go. And if you've been sitting on your hands for 90 days, 60 days or whatever, now you've got to rev that machine back up. That's not an easy thing to do, right? And I think that's what a lot of agents are falling into right now. Me even included a little bit last week. I didn't prospect a lick last week.
Well, and here's my thing is I've been consuming more news articles and everything like that. And I will say that a lot of the negativity has started to creep into my mind too. I'm like, holy smokes, like we're just all doomed. We're dead. Like we'll never recover from this. And something that I'm sure we all want to talk about, because I know we were talking about this before we officially went, it's recorded, but before we officially started the show, about, which one's better, starting the economy or letting, all stay at home. But, there was an article that came out or a report that came out, I believe it was either yesterday or today, that the jump in unemployment claims was like record highs, right? And I look at it from twofold. Like I'm trying to look at it from a logical standpoint, and hopefully this doesn't come off insensitive, because that's not the message of this or the meaning behind it. But a lot of what's going to happen is a lot of these unemployment claims are also from the restaurant industries, the servers, the bartenders, the management. And when it comes to, at least in my business, buying and selling, we weren't working with a lot in the hospitality side of the business, right? A lot of those were still, what I've seen, a lot of those were still, those people were renting houses. And so I would like to see where the list, if they would break it down, of what those people were doing job related wise, because that would be a great figure to look at. Because when we're looking at where unemployment is, we can segment the list of saying, all right, the restaurant, the hospitality industry really got hammered, right? What other industry? Oil and gas industry, especially oil right now, is getting hammered. There will be layoffs if it hasn't already started happening from that. The hotel, which is probably hospitality. So you're seeing a lot of that happening. And so will the workforce, once we're through this and we reopen for business completely, is it somewhat back to normal? Do we recover fast? Do your home sellers and home buyers just say, screw it, they're it's like hitting the pause button and then we're back on?
I think here's what I think changes, right? And this is, I don't want to say this is a warning shot, but I don't know a better, more articulate way to put it. I think this is a warning shot for agents that overvalue their services, in the sense that what I think a great agent does is advise people as an expert when they're making relatively large financial decisions, right? What a great agent isn't is a professional door opener, is somebody who's just available to communicate with you all the time, is somebody that's going to give you quote unquote personalized service only because they don't have systems in place to give you high level experiences on an ongoing basis. I think that what is going to change here is, as reliant as we've been forced to become on technology, you're going to see many more virtual elements to the realtor and client relationship, I think, going forward as an industry. Like and in the broader economy, this is what I think it becomes a big issue for commercial property owners and things like that. You might not see as many people go back to work in an office after this as they had before, right? You might see major companies scale down their physical footprint in a big way. And when that happens, I think that you're going to start to see a lot of innovation is born in times of necessity like this, right? We're finding out now that the gears don't have to come to a complete stop just because things shut down. We can work virtually. I think that's going to become a lot more normal. And I think that if you pride yourself on just being an agent who's sort of out there and available and showing how, and just, I think if you rely on anything but your systems, processes, and expertise, your market expertise, you may have trouble going forward, because I don't think that just physical presence is going to be enough to be considered a good agent anymore. Because I think that that's going to go, at least elements of that are going to go away for sure.
I don't know how as real estate agents, we continue forward with like the same thought process after all of this, right? Like for me, it's the part that's been really eye-opening about our industry is kind of how we've talked about this on the show a lot, right? And I even fall victim to, I think, the percent of agents who might fall in this, just how truly close to the edge everybody keeps their businesses, right? Some of the decisions that are being made, and as you guys are watching the replay of this, I'd love to know if your markets are still open for business as usual right now. Like DFW is a total freaking shit show, right? Like like Dallas County is like, we will write you a $1,000 ticket if we see you doing anything real estate related. Whereas there's other counties who are like, it's good, don't worry about it, right? And I think what I've noticed the most at our group and all the other groups we're in is that the majority of this industry either believes they have clients who don't have any other housing alternatives, right? And that's what they're telling themselves, or every commission check is so crucial to them being able to make it to the next commission check that we're willing to fly into the face of what we kind of universally have agreed. Look, unless China, Iran, Italy, and Spain are all just lying to us about how bad this is, I don't know what makes us think it's going to be any better for us here, right? Like I don't know why we would think by Easter it's going to be fine here, but every place else, it took 3 months to shake out, right? So this thought process that like, I'm not denying the fact that the economy will suffer. I'm not even really denying the fact that there won't be lots of people who lose their jobs and lots of terrible things that happen. I'm also saying that just may be what has to happen, right? Everybody needs to stay at home. And this thought process that there's this other overriding, I wouldn't say everybody needs to stay at home because that's a personal choice that I've chosen to make. I would say that everybody needs to look at this outside of their wallet and outside of their clients and things like that and do what they believe is truly best. If you truly believe this thing is a hoax, I'm not going to try and convince you it isn't. I'm not like, I don't have the fucking energy for that at all. But the reality is I think I've been in our industry, in many other industries, I was shocked. Guys, we've been locked down for 2 weeks. Waffle House had to close 20% of their restaurants, right? Like that's not just being kept, like that's like legitimately you are paying bills so minute to minute almost that you don't even have the ability to weather this storm for 14 fucking days.
Quicken
our
loans
industry is a lot like that too.
Quicken loans just applied for emergency funding too.
That's insanity.
Yes, yesterday.
Do we think some of these do we think some of these big things in our industry that we as real estate agents don't like, the Quicken loans, the Zillows, like they all survive this, right?
Yes.
No.
Absolutely they do. Yes.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I think maybe in a different form. I don't know. It depends on how bad it gets. I will tell you that there are going to be so lenders probably are a different story. There are going to be some investment firms that don't have liquidity like Open Door. Open Door might not survive this. They've had to stop buying homes right now just because they don't have the capital reserves to continue the business as usual. They've got to sell inventory. And if we have a steep downturn, like their margins are razor thin. You see what Open Door buys for and then puts it back on the market for. Like they make less on a deal than we do in commission. And they just rely on pure volume. If they actually have to take, let's just say home values drop by 10%, all of their existing inventory is going to be underwater. Like they will take massive losses. And then they've already stopped the machine on the front side that makes the money, that is buying and flipping houses. So like, I don't know how they come up with a new strategy. Like they've got to get back in the game. But if everything that is existing inventory wise is underwater, that might be it for them. We have kind of a brand recognition type thing with a lot of companies. Like if you would ask me in 2006, does Bear Stearns, are they susceptible to an economic downturn? You'd be like, no, fucking 36 hours. That's how long it took for them to collapse. That's it.
Yeah.
Done. Right. So like a lot of these operations are not as sturdy as we think they are.
We don't know how much cash they're sitting on, right? Because they're not truly disclosing all that. You know, from some of the articles I've read, supposedly Zillow sitting on a good amount of cash. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Does that take a massive hit when agents can't afford to pay for their zip codes anymore? Because isn't that their primary source of income at this point?
So one train of thought, one article I read about this is two things. They're trying to come out as the good guy, depending on how you view Zillow, right? They're trying to come out as the good guy because they started slashing. For the next 2 months, they slashed. I think they did half off their spend, right? So you're spending 1,000, 500, et cetera. The thought process, though, that I've read is this helps Zillow go more into that referral relationship instead of necessarily charging the ad spend money. They're now going into it'll go into that 30 or 35% referral fee. So you may see that on the Quicken side. I don't know much about their business in terms of, I haven't looked at, anything from their stock related. So I'm not sure what it looks like from how much cash they're holding on to, but I would think, unless this drags out, 4 more months, I would think that they survive this as well.
It is pretty shocking how many this the restaurant situation. I mean, when we come out of this, most of our favorite restaurants may not be open anymore.
And
those are the people that are going to take the biggest hit.
Yeah, that's
the company I worked for, man. I think they let go over 90% of their staff, and they laid them off so they could still go and file for unemployment and get insurance and those types of things. But that's crazy.
I have a handful of people, and it's building every day. I just found out yesterday another one of them, a handful, like probably up to 8 or 9 now, that are in service industry or hotel business. I know people that have been in the hotel business for 30 plus years that have been laid off just like that.
Yeah, and look, people are saying we should have been more prepared. It's hard to prepare for something like this. People would have lost a lot of money betting on, with something to stop down everything going on. And this is the question that was asked before we officially started and kind of tossing around. Is it better to do like what Matt was talking about, that complete shutdown for as long as possible, like that's necessary? Or do you say the repercussions of the economic decay and what it does in terms of affecting people financially? Is it better just to say, all right, we did this for 14 days, however long we were shut down, and we need to restart the economy and get it going? Because if you think about it, what if I read an article, there's a lady that was 3 months from retiring. She can't retire now because her retirement is gone. It's completely wiped out. Right? You've got people that are already retired right now that's living off of investment income that's completely wiped out. So, the ripple long-term effect, which one's worse? And that's where the kind of the back and forth goes. Like, you're putting profits before human life, et cetera. And it's like long-term. And that's the question. If you were to ask that question without getting into it and looked at it from just the logical side of things, which one's worse?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and this is where it becomes like I want to tiptoe around my words here a little bit, because I want everybody to understand kind of where we're coming from with this, because I think this is going to be a good conversation. All three of us don't see eye to eye on this. There's a big distinction between what is better and what is realistic and what is possible, because what is best right now is if every single American found a way to stay inside for 2 weeks, this would just all be over, right? Like if every single person committed to not leaving their home for 15, days, we would at least have enough information to contain the hottest spots and work this out pretty well. It's never going to happen. We have a country of 330 million people. People can't stay home, right? And so where this becomes, it becomes a tipping point, right? In any situation like this, mitigating the downside is number one. That's your number one priority. In a situation like this, there are many possible downsides. There's a downside to having a full-blown pandemic that we're doing nothing about, right? That downside is millions of people, mostly elderly and people with pre-existing health conditions, are at risk of dying. And there will probably be hundreds of thousands of deaths, if not over 1 million, if we just let this thing run. Right? If we just do nothing, we just go back to daily life as usual, whatever. Hundreds of thousands, most likely, it sounds like, right? That's terrible. That's unimaginable. That's horrible, right? Then you get into this conversation of, well, if we can't get everybody to shelter in place, if we do still have a number of people traveling, we do still have a number of people going to frickin' the beach in Florida on spring break, we do have people that are being obstinate because it's impossible to get everybody to play by the rules. How long does this go on? We're saying Easter. That's an arbitrary thing we just made up. The reality is, if we can't get it together, this could go on for another year, right? And then we have a situation where we have a lot of economic issues, right? Economic issues lead to the same kind of pain and mortality rates and all that type of stuff that a pandemic can, if given enough time, right? Like there's plenty of different numbers on this. I think Gregory how do you say his name? Gregory Manke? Economist, I can't remember. He was the first one to put this out there. I think he said 37,000. You can ask other people, they'll tell you something different. 37,000 people die for every 1% that unemployment increases, right? Whether or not that's a perfectly round number, I have no idea. Harvard has also published studies that I've read recently about the correlation between unemployment and death. And the numbers are pretty staggering. It's difficult to measure. There's got to be a really big sample size, and you have to measure things like how many people are more susceptible to things like heart conditions because of stress. Like there's a lot of ripple effects that happen whenever an economy collapses. People can physically be put at danger in a real way. Mortality rates do rise whenever economy collapses, right? Economic collapse can be just as bad as a pandemic, just depending on the circumstances, right? More people would die if we went up to 6% unemployment somehow. More people would be dead than we lose to the flu every year, right? Not comparing coronavirus to the flu. I'm just saying, like, there are things that we don't try to do anything about, right? We're not trying to get the number of people that die from the flu. Like, we're not locking ourselves indoors every flu season to try to get that down. We've accepted that about 60,000 people in America are going to die every year from the flu. I don't say accept it in the way that, like, we just don't give a shit. I say accept it in the way that we're continuing life as usual while continuing to try to combat the flu virus, right? Every year we come out with a new strain of vaccine, all that type of stuff. We may end up in eventually falling into a similar situation with coronavirus. We'll probably have a coronavirus season every single year, and a certain amount of people will die. When you start to measure that against how many people may be at risk of not only death from things like rising unemployment, but how many of those same people that we're trying to protect from coronavirus will have all of their savings wiped out. Every single person that was thinking about retiring, who's basically just their 401k is gone, right? There's a lot of other effects to that type of thing, right? Like there's a lot of things out there that put people at genuine risk that have nothing to do with the virus, but have a lot more to do with economic hardship. And so, like, I can't sit here and say that one is better than the other. I can say it's an existential conversation to have, is what is that tipping point and how do we measure it? Like, when do we stop just kind of saying that this is the best route? Maybe it's the best route for another year. I have no idea. Maybe it's already not the best route. Like, it's a very difficult situation, but I think just kind of being blind to what a real economic collapse can do to people physically that's a mistake, to turn a blind eye to that.
And here's my thing is, I completely agree with the long-term deal, but I more agree with the thing you said first. If we could just lock, like, I do not believe that if let's even take it further than what you said. Let's say that everybody has to stay inside except for real essential personnel. And I'm going to call this out right here because I don't care what anybody says. Real estate agents, you are not essential. As much as you want to convince yourself in your listing appointment that you're the same as a doctor or an attorney, you're just not. You're not, okay? There are ways for people to get into homes. If you have a buyer who needs to buy, or a lease that is expiring, those types of things can still be accomplished without you going out and physically opening 15 doors. So all of you that are posting the meme of Will Ferrell that says now you're essential,
seen it.
You're driving me crazy. You're not essential, right? Here's my thing is, if we could legitimately just get behind this for 30 days, and I am easily the least intelligent person on this entire crew about how global economics affects anything, right? I will preface this with all of that. I will also say that I'm the person that can go the least amount of time without a paycheck on this entire screen as well. And I do not think for a second, as real estate agents, if you've convinced yourself somehow that walking in and out of houses day after day is the right thing for you to be doing right now, I assure you, if you had the right amount of money in your bank account, there's no way your happy ass would be getting off the couch. So stop trying to convince everybody that it's for your poor clients. It is for your bank account. Everybody knows it, and that's fine. The biggest issue, and especially locally here in DFW, and I know other people are experiencing this, our leadership cannot get their shit together. We easily service 4 to 6 counties here, if you want to call it that. We'll talk about the 4 major ones. 3 of them are still essentially allowing business as usual, or Dallas has said, we're going to charge you a bunch of money if we catch you doing this, right? That's also the thing that's made it a little bit difficult, is people do have the excuse of the mayor of Plano, right? Like they would ever listen to this person's opinion about anything else, but he goes on TV and says it's okay to continue to show homes. And they're like, oh, it's fine then, right? Like the mayor of Plano knows exactly what the fuck's going on. Like, no, like nobody has any idea what's going on.
I didn't even know that dude's name until yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they're trying to convince you they know how to handle this, run, because they're lying. Like nobody possibly could.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Again, we're getting too localized on this, but
this, I will tell you, is even inside Herd, we're experiencing this in like some of our markets are shut down, other ones are business as usual. And it's very bizarre to see nationwide too.
Well, and to go with your comment about the cities and the counties, like the county, like the main county that we're all in, Collin County, talked about every business is essential, right? Then there was backlash on it, which in this press conference, all the Collin County mayors were lined up behind the Collin County judge, right? All in unison, they were all on board. And then what happened? The way that the press conference, it was a shit show anyway, but they, I guess the mayors had seen how everyone was getting roasted about this. And guess what? They backtracked and then made their own rules. And so the miscommunication, this is, if we can learn anything from this in our business and future business, like when stuff like this happens, get your communication right.
Sure. And
have a uniformed and unified message, because right now there is so many different messages going on. We don't know if we're allowed to run, walk. Should we lay down? Like what's going on right now? And it's because there's so many different messages out there. And guess what? The consumers are feeling that way right now too, right? There are people that are unemployed, that are losing their job, that are going to fall behind on their mortgages and stuff like that. They don't know, can there be deferments, or like there's real estate agents giving horrible advice.
That's the worst part
on what's going on right now. Right. And so, as real estate advisors, stop giving shitty advice like that. Right. If you don't know the answer, don't give it just what you think and just what you hear. You need to be advising these people to reach out to their lenders and reach out to their debt servicers and start working those deals out. Don't be giving any advice about, foreclosures or short sales at this moment.
You honestly shouldn't be doing in any market, probably most likely.
more than likely not.
Most agents should not be giving financial advice to most people.
Absolutely. So again, if while we start to get closer and I don't know if Derek's going to actually show his face on this show. Maybe he will. I don't know how much longer.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Left. People can't see what's up top.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
There he is.
How much longer do we have, Derek?
Just hiding behind the scenes. About 7-10 minutes.
7 to 10 minutes. 7 to 10 minutes. We can probably go for a lot longer than that, but 7 to 10 minutes.
That's what she said.
So, built for a marathon. So in the meantime, for the next 7 to 10 minutes, I want to talk about what are you guys doing right now to work on getting more efficient. But before we answer those questions, go sign up at toracademy.com. $27 a month is our new pricing. This is pricing that we rolled out because as soon as this started, all the shit started hitting the fan. We wanted to come up with better pricing to make sure that we got more agents involved into bettering themselves and skilling up. Now's the time to skill up. Now's the time to start learning what you should be deploying in your business. What should you be pulling back? So $27 a month. That includes our Tor Academy. We'll be doing updated classes on this to recession-proof your business, as well as you can participate in our twice a month monthly Zoom mastermind calls. You can also sign up if you want the lifetime access for $197. There's no other money involved in that. $197 lifetime access. Or if you say, screw it, I don't want to be part of that shit. I just want to jump on the Zoom mastermind calls. $20 a month. That's it. So toracademy.com, go sign up. And so playing offense and defense right now, what are you guys doing to be more efficient at this, right? Because your people aren't going in the office. And look, there's a few people in here. There's literally 2 people in here right now in my office. So what we're doing is we're having to become more efficient through our virtual training.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, here's the thing. There was stuff right away when we looked at our P&L that we just cut immediately, right? And I think that was the first when we want to go on offense. And I think the most efficient way for us to go on offense is look what we can do without and still be efficient. We did take a look at our P&L, and I think it's when it's times like these that if you don't have a real a real tight bookkeeping or a tight P&L, you're going to have trouble right now. Because one of the best things about our business is that when we went into this little bit of a momentary shift here, like we knew exactly where our money was not being spent efficiently. And we were able to cut stuff right away. Now, as far as going on offense is concerned, if you follow the premise that human beings will be human beings, meaning that they will adapt to their environment, whatever that environment is, then you should be doing business as usual, especially from your lead generation standpoint, right? The thing that has switched, I think that we touched on a little earlier, is now you're going to be prospecting-based marketing enhanced instead of marketing-based and prospecting enhanced. People want to talk to you. And here's the deal. You may just be building a pipeline. Kelderman touched on this before. Like, you may just be building a pipeline of people that are going to be ready to go when this is all over. And here's the thing. You're going to be alive when this is all over and hopefully still in real estate. Like, that's valuable lead generation. It may be a smaller pond to fish in right now. I will tell you this, the longer that this goes on, the more adapted people are going to get. If this went on for 2 years, let's just be crazy and say this went on for 2 years, do you really think nobody would buy a house in the next 2 years? They would adapt. They would find ways. We would be looking more at virtual tours and other technology tools and things like that. Like, this idea that we're kind of shut down right now, so we just need to kind of like ride this out and get back to it whenever this is over, is crazy. Because one, we already have, I already know what it's going to be today. I haven't seen our final totals from today, but I can tell you we already executed 19 contracts this month. Now, I get it that this has only been shut down for the last couple of weeks, but we've executed at least 8 of those in the last 2 weeks, right? So we're still doing business as usual. We executed a new construction. One of our partners, Showalter, he executed a new construction contract last night. Ashley Gilmore executed another one yesterday. Like, these people are freaking still working. They're still out there, right? And so, one, there might be a smaller pond to fish in right now. That's why you double down your efforts. And even if you do end up having to ride this out a little bit, as long as you've increased your activity right now, you're going to get a rush of activity on the other side. That's what we need to focus on now. I
think the premise that's always been true with real estate is very typically freaking dog walking around. I don't know if you guys can hear all this racket with this damn dog, but the thing that has always been true in real estate is that there's the activity that you're doing today rarely brings you the business that you procure today, right? It's usually your activity from 30 days ago, 60 days ago. Like, we've all been at this long enough to have that story. And every real estate agent who's done this for a while has that story that they picked up the phone and the person's like, actually, I need you to come over today, right? The reality of that probably wasn't going to happen to you on a random Thursday, coronavirus or no. That probably wasn't going to, you were going to have to do some nurturing. If you're still cranking out the same message you were cranking out 2.5 weeks ago, that's where you're fucking up. Like, if you're still pushing out the same drip campaigns that lead with nothing that mentions where we're at right now, right? If you're still having the exact same conversations on the phone or the exact same conversations via text message, the thing I've used it as an opportunity to is legitimately just reach out to everybody. I'm a sphere-based agent, but I also don't really contact them as much as I should. So if you haven't heard this over the past 2 weeks, you're obviously not paying attention to real estate, but reaching out to your sphere and just saying like, hey, how are you doing with everything? How's the family doing? Right? And that's not even business related for me. It's just an opportunity to reconnect with people. And then continuing to nurture the expireds that come in every day and have those types of conversations that are solid, good conversations anyways. And small little technique that you can implement. I, in my Boomtown account, but every CRM that's worth a damn should have some ability for you to tag people or do something. I legitimately have a tag that just says Corona. And it's everybody who's giving me coronavirus is a reason why they can't do anything. You know what's going to happen as soon as I all of a sudden feel this thing start loosening up? I'm going to go filter my whole database by Corona and call all of them.
I love that idea. I mean, that's a great, that's a nugget. That may be the nugget from the entire show, right? I mean, if you think of it from that standpoint, I do like that you're using it to reach out to your database. I mean, I've been texting and look, I don't reach out to my database. Like, you've already heard my story, right? I would much rather figure out how to do a client appreciation event that I don't really have to necessarily always talk to them. Like, come in, enjoy, have a good time on us, etc. But I've been reaching out to a lot of my database that I know that are in the medical industry. A lot of them are nurses. A lot of them are nurse practitioners and physician assistants, and just asking how they're doing. Thanking them for their job and for what they're doing. And, if you think about it, they're risking more than anything, right? not only do you have Corona
100%.
shit going on in there, you've got other nasty shit going on in those hospitals. So, I mean, my next door neighbor she's been checking on me more than I've checked on her. And I believe she's an ICU nurse. I know, and they're running low on every nurse I've talked to. They're on, days left of supplies. Right. Yeah. So what I did, and this is not business related, but what I did is I created a group called DFW Cares, a Facebook group, where, I wanted to make sure that we could get the community together and be a broker of people that have supplies, that have resources, that want to volunteer and bring together people that are in need.
You guys have crushed it with that group. We actually recommended to one of our lead generation, connection tactics was, you guys are all a part of DFW Cares. Go on there and offer help to somebody.
Absolutely.
Right? That's all you need to do. Just anything you can do. Just go on there and be a resource. I think people will be really surprised at what pops out the other side if you just, are nice.
Well, and we've had to delete a few people in there that you could tell that there was more what their intentions were behind it, was to get business. So we're not putting up with that kind of shit. But this is an opportunity as well for us to find ways to give back to our community. As real estate, I'm sure that there's a lot of real estate agents that already do a good job with this, but I'm trying to word this correctly. Actually, I don't care about it. Their intentions of doing great for the community is also because they want to get business from it, right?
Sure.
This right now is the time to give, and don't expect anything to come back on that, like business wise, right? This is the time to help. This reminds me a lot of 9/11.
Yeah, it really kind of felt that way for me too the last couple of days, right? Initially, it didn't feel that way, but I would say for the most part, everybody's being cool with each other, which is nice. It was a little bit of a shit show for the first few days,
though. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: we have all the tools that we need at our disposal, right? To either become somebody that fosters community outreach, help in the community in any way that you can, all those types of things that will strengthen your relationships with the community. There's also dude, we're doing a Zoom call podcast right now. I've seen agents implement awesome ideas. A buddy of ours, Jason Otts, hosted a virtual game night the other night. There's a ton of people jumping on there. We're trying to get a virtual trivia happy hour going here for our team pretty soon, which is going to be cool, that we're going to host. We've got a buyer webinar that we're hosting on Saturday. All this stuff's super easy to set up. If you're not taking advantage of the fact that you have a captive audience right now and doing virtual stuff, webinars especially, that's a huge missed opportunity. I would jump on that for sure.
Well, and we've also, as especially in the shift book, and Brian, we brought this up on Monday's Zoom mastermind call, but in the shift book, right, you talked about reading those first 60 pages. Man, there's gold in that just alone. But, you talk about during the rise up in the economy, in business, you get bloated, right? And you don't hold your dollars accountable, et cetera. And where we got bloated and started lacking is our script training, right? We used to be the hands down, day in and day out, the scripting and objection handling, that was our forte. And it just fell off. And so we re-implemented, we started doing the Zoom trainings, team meetings, as well as Mondays and Fridays, we're reincorporating, team scripting. Cause we, for some reason, we all need help in trying to learn how to overcome these objections, which you can't overcome the objection of this, right? And so
I think that's why it's nice to have some of the questions I think that I've been asking are just when somebody brings it up that they're not listing right now. I'm I understand that's actually kind of reasonable, right? Are you still and then finding out more about their motivation, having a decent conversation with them, and then figuring out some sort of follow up for when this is all over, right? I don't know. I just don't feel like it's that much different than what we normally do, other than the fact that you just probably need to be a little more sensitive in your conversations.
Well, for sure. And here's the thing. This is where you should be actually getting real and raw with these people.
Yeah.
Right? This is that opportunity. And not just looking, we should be doing that anyway, but I know some people just look at everyone as a paycheck and, come from contribution on that. But it's it's really how can you get more efficient in your business? Like, I love that y'all are doing that buyer seminar, virtual seminar on Saturday.
Yeah,
right?
I had a guy reach out to me the other day. He's like, "Is this going to be like a webinar now?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Perfect. I'll see you there."
Yeah, I think that's great. I think, I just wrote down here the virtual trivia happy hour. I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, what should be done is, we should be doing TJT Herg type of stuff.
We really should. Brian and I actually had plans to do that with another group in our office, just because I know like Arthur on your team's always eating hot shit, right? Like, but there's all kinds of stuff that could be being done right now. And then, another side note, if you can't figure out a way to get comfortable with video and all of this, God help you, right? Like if this isn't your opportunity to start figuring out how to just get a little more comfortable getting your face in front of people, as a real estate agent, you need to be doing that anyways. Like, we like doing the show, but it's also not completely like just for us to look at our faces, right? There's a reason behind all of this content that you put out. And if you still can't get out there and put yourself out a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. You did an amazing job last night, and go to Kelderman's Facebook page. He was cooking on there, right? And he was cooking on there, and I'm laughing because he literally said, like, what, I'm 41 years old and I should be able to figure out how to at least during these times cook for myself. And you had, what was it, chicken that was set out for 3 days or something, and someone was questioning if you should even cook it then.
It was perfect. Like, I was just talking to people like an idiot, right? Like, and just doing whatever, and it worked out great. I didn't do it for that. Like, I'm pretty comfortable doing that kind of stuff, but people don't, especially right now, people don't need you doing anything profound, right? Like, what I was doing last night was not anything that was like going to change anybody's day. But I had people who hung out with me for 25 minutes and they were engaging on it. And there's people still commenting on it today, right? So like, plus it was fun. I got to use all my gear in the kitchen.
I do want to comment when you're watching this, comment, because look, we're coming up on the last part of this, and there's probably, do we have a billionaire idea, Brian?
I don't think anything good. It's weird how I've been locked down. You think I have a ton of time to think of ideas, but I've been dying in Call of Duty instead.
So you brought it up. All right. That's where I was going with this. I'm glad you mentioned.
I was trying to prompt you.
Yep. So we've been talking about during this time, we busted out the Xbox Ones, right? Matt even went and bought one.
I was just saying, we busted them out from the store.
Yeah. And so I had one.
Guy at Walmart gave me a deal.
Yeah, I had one, and my wife had bought one for me 4 years ago as my first Father's Day present. And I was like, oh, great. And I'm like, I don't play it anymore, right? Like I turned it on one time when she gave it to me, and Brian and I were joking. We've played Xbox more than ever now for the last week, and so we've been contemplating doing some type of Call of Duty, just fun video of putting it out there. Again, it's about content, just having fun during this time of just stress and uncertainty. So if that's something, if you're into that kind of stuff, if you want to see us put something like that together, go ahead and comment down below and just let us know. Or if you're on Xbox One,
too, we'll find you.
You can
put your gamer tag in there. And if there's enough comments, I will give an explanation of why my gamer tag is what it is.
Oh, I'd like that. Here's what I think we need if we're gonna do that. I think it's very simple. We need two things. One, we're like pretty either really high D personalities or just not really super organized. So I think we do need somebody to comment and maybe hold us accountable, like keeping score. Like maybe we just send. I kind of figure we'll do like who's got the best like kill death ratio from now until like, let's just say the end of April, maybe, because that's about what we're estimating is going to be the shortest amount of time this goes on. So maybe we got to send, if you could comment below, if you want to help us keep score, we'll send you our kill total and death total every time we play. And I kind of figure it's just going to be lowest man on the totem pole loses. Like whoever is the last place has to do something at the end of April. I don't know what that is yet. You can't do much to your physical appearance. We do have to like be in front of clients and stuff. So you can't just like shave your head into a mohawk or something for like, or maybe we could, I don't know, but something like that. Somebody's going to get a tattoo. Ooh, how about this?
Yeah.
Lowest man on the totem pole's got to get a Call of Duty Warzone tattoo.
Fuck.
You and I already
I'm
have
out.
shitty tattoos. We do not need to add more shitty tattoos. To
It
our
won't be
body.
that. But okay, that's the other thing. Okay, so comment below. 1, comment if you will help us keep score. And then 2, comment what the lowest man on the totem pole should have to do at the end of April. Make it reasonable. We'll all have a good laugh. If it's not reasonable, we're not really going to do it. So at least try to do something reasonable that we would agree to.
And come join us. Like, look, we're here to blow off some steam, man. Like, I usually jump on at 10. Like, I'm blowing off some steam right now. This is the time to find some energy release. And if you have Xbox One, come join us. If not, then if you think video games are a waste of time, like,
don't be on our team if you want to win, because we're all terrible. But definitely join the same game.
Yeah. Come in and watch.
So hopefully this was valuable. This was something, thank you to Derek for figuring out how to put this together and how he's going to edit all this, since this was not live. But go ahead and head over to toracademy.com. Go sign up for our mastermind in Tor Academy, $27 a month or $197 for the lifetime access. Our next Zoom mastermind call is in a week and a half.
Yeah,
Monday from Monday.
Yep.
We just did Monday, so 2 Mondays from now.
So it will be on April 6th is the next mastermind call. So if you want to get registered in on that. And then one last request, because we've been asking a lot. April 16th is our 1-year anniversary of the only real estate group worth being a part of.
Nice.
Right? And so we're our goal, again, it's always just to give back to the community, provide, great nuggets to help build your business, connect, people like Justin Nelson on there with his virtual assistants, which he's killing.
We just had somebody reach out to us yesterday. It was like, hey, is this dude for real? I was like, we got like 4 people that we are talking to right now. They're all like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah. Elizabeth loves her virtual.
She was one of the ones that told me.
Yeah. Her virtual assistant's killing it for her right now, especially during this time. But we want to blow past the 5,000 group member mark. We're a few members away from that. So right now the goal is 5,000 by April 16th. We really the next goal would be 7,500 and then 10,000. We want this to be the best real estate group, again, worth being a part of.
Exactly.
So
the more people we get, the more value there is. That's for darn sure. Because we do a pretty good job moderating it and keeping it just valuable content.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we're cleaning it up. I mean, we had somebody in there posting editable graphics the other day that you could use to send out to your people, and So, anyways, add people without fear of it being some sort of like shit show group. It's cool in there.
Yeah. So the only real estate group worth being a part of, toracademy.com. And anything else?
I don't think so. Derek, go edit this.
I've been trying to get people to come with me on a road trip. No one will come. I don't understand it. Like,
dude, let's go camping.
I'm trying. White Sands
Dude,
National Park, New Mexico. We'll just fucking drive out there. We'll grab some cloths and some lawn chairs, and we'll fucking
Hold on. If this
look
is
at the dunes.
When will we leave? Today?
Fuck yeah, we'll leave right now, or like after this. Lady, we're going to New Mexico.
But I want to ride. Like, I want to go dune buggy shit.
We'll fucking mastermind. We'll goal set.
We're probably closed on the dune buggies. Can we get a dune buggy?
I don't know if you can get a dune buggy even if it was open. I think you have to bring your own.
Right?
I don't know. Are there dune buggy?
For sure.
If there's a dune buggy company, they're probably closed because you don't want to be too close. But I
tell them just to wipe their dune buggy down, leave it outside for us.
Dude, if we can dune buggy, I'll go dune buggy.
2 things. I think 1, you're overestimating how fun dune buggies are. And
no,
2,
dune buggies are badass.
If you get hurt on a dune buggy, no one's going to save you because all the hospitals are packed. So we got to do safe shit.
I've never heard dune buggy said so many times in rapid succession. It's a weird sounding word when a bunch of people say it.
It's kind of a tongue twister when you're saying it that much.
But I want to ride, like, I want to go dune buggy. We're probably closed on the dune buggies. Can we get a dune buggy? Dune buggies are badass.